Okay, guys, so we're back with science, and on Tuesday we talked about, or we started talking about Earth's forces. So we talked about volcanoes, we talked about the different types of forces that cause Earth's surface to change: volcanoes, earthquakes, landslides. We talked about how earthquakes occur when the Earth's crusts move. We talked about volcanoes and how they erupt, and that the lava that comes out of the magma that comes out of the volcano is lava, and how that the lava changes the area of land when it hardens. Okay. So we're going to keep talking about the Earth's forces. So let's read. It says, lay down newspaper to protect the kitchen counter. Oh, because we ended with, did you know you can make a mini volcano in your own kitchen? So let's talk about how you could do that. Lay down newspaper to protect the kitchen counter. Grab a small drinking glass you can see through. Add 4 spoonfuls of baking soda and 2 teaspoons of dish soap to the glass. Mix together with a spoon. Next, add about 2 ounces of vinegar to the glass. The mixture will bubble up just like an erupting volcano. So this little part right here, guys, could be an actual sequence text structure because it's telling us the steps to how to make a volcano. Okay, so now we're going to be where it says Career Corner, and I'm going to be highlighting some important information for us to remember. I would pay attention because you may see some questions about that important information. So Career Corner, volcanologist. Want to spend your life studying volcanoes? Scientists who study volcanoes are called volcanologists. I did not know that. I didn't know there was such a thing. Many volcanologists study geology in school. Geology is a study of the solid parts of Earth, like rocks. Some volcanologists study the kinds of lava that erupt from different volcanoes. From lava, they can learn what kinds of minerals make up Earth's interior. Another field of study is how to protect eruptions, or how to predict eruptions. We can yet predict eruptions accurately. Perhaps someday volcanologists will learn how. So they still are not able to actually predict them accurately. They don't really know when they're going to happen. They kind of have like a guess, but it's not like an actually accurate prediction. How do earthquakes change Earth's surface? So we've talked about how volcanoes change Earth's surface, so let's talk about earthquakes. Earthquakes are another powerful force. As Earth's plates move past each other, the plates sometimes get stuck. Pressure builds up between the plates. Finally, the pressure is strong enough to force the plates past each other. This sudden movement can cause the ground to move. We call these movements earthquakes. Okay? So when the plates pass each other, that's when that movement causes the ground to move, and which makes an earthquake. So remember the plates we mentioned earlier. Where the edges of these plates meet other plates are called faults. Areas with faults are very likely to have earthquakes. So where the edges of these plates meets other plates, other plates are called faults. Areas with faults are most likely to have earthquakes. Many earthquakes happen along the San Andreas Fault in California. So they do have a lot of earthquakes in California. Earthquakes can cause a lot of damage. In 1906, a large earthquake hit San Francisco, California. The earthquake lasted only about a minute. Large cracks appeared in the ground. Many buildings were destroyed. Getting technical. A seismograph. How do scientists know when earthquakes happen? Some earthquakes you can feel, but others are less powerful. When earthquakes happen, they send waves of energy through Earth. So what happens? They send waves of energy through the Earth. Scientists use a special tool called a seismograph to measure the strength of the waves. Okay. That's the tool they use to measure the waves. Seismographs are important for scientists who work to detect and record earthquakes. Seismographs help save lives by giving warnings when a large earthquake begins. Okay, so that's very important. They can help save lives. Scientists use the Richter scale to describe earthquake's intensity. A high number means the earthquake is more intense. A 9.0 earthquake is more powerful than a 3.0 earthquake. So the higher the number, the more intense the earthquake is. Okay. What do you think? Volcanoes and earthquakes can cause lots of damage. However, these natural processes are not always disasters. How might volcano eruptions or earthquakes have positive effects on Earth? So think about that. How do you think they may have positive effects? We talked about how volcanoes can actually add more land. Because in the very beginning it talks about how the volcano that happened in 1983 added 500 acres of new land to the islands. It talks about how it provides more space and plants for animals to live. So that's a positive. Earthquakes. I'm not really sure about earthquakes. Is there anything that we read that I missed? I don't know, maybe by the ground moving it causes more. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. How do landslides change Earth's surface? Well, now let's talk about landslides. The movement of rocks inside Earth causes both earthquakes and volcanoes, but other changes to Earth's are easier to spot. Landslides happen when land moves on the surface of Earth. So landslides happen when land moves on the surface. So volcanoes happen when, not volcanoes, earthquakes happen when the plates underneath the surface move. Landslides happen when the land on the surface moves. Landslides happen when a big section of the ground suddenly falls or slips. Some landslides are caused by soil absorbing water. The wet dirt becomes heavy and collapses. Other times, earthquakes can cause landslides. So earthquakes can cause landslides. And then some are caused by soil absorbing water. Okay. So, what do you know? Powerful forces on Earth causes earthquakes, volcanoes, and landslides. Read the description below. Write down whether you think each description matches an earthquake, a landslide, or a volcano eruption. So you are going to read these. I'm going to type these out and you're going to read them and you're going to have to tell me, is it an earthquake, a volcano, or a landslide?